the citizens will rise up, and when that happens, I think he will be in trouble.
Koigi Omwere, of course, also history will bear us down as far as ethnicity is concerned. You've written a book as well, and I wanted also just to pick up genocide in Kenya, the Council of Negative Ethnicity. If I may just take a keen look on that as well. And you can maybe weigh in as far as ethnicity is concerned and predicated on this federal system in Ethiopia.
Yeah, let me start by saying that I don't think that the problem in Ethiopia is just having a federal state. I think there is absolutely, there are federal states elsewhere that have done very well politically. And so the problem, I don't think, is federalism. I think the problem we have in Ethiopia is that we have a federal system that is built upon negative ethnicity as the ideology of the state. If you look at the political structures, the federal system in Ethiopia has, the ethnic federal system has split the country into almost 9 regions, which are all ethnic. You have the Oromia region, you have the Amhara, you have the Tigray,
yes,
you have Somalia region, you have Gabela region, which I was surprised to learn that it is peopled by people who are very close to the Luo, to the Luo in this country. You have the Afar region, and it is my belief that negative ethnicity is a very destructive ideology. Anything built on it is unlikely to succeed. And I'm surprised that with so much political experience by Ethiopian leaders that they could have resorted to such an ideology. I mean, moving from one extreme end of violent communism and then replacing that with an ethnic federal system and hoping to succeed. Anybody who has studied the ideology of negative ethnicity will know that it can only work negatively because it pits communities against one another, politically, economically, and socially and culturally. And it's unless a leadership of any country is ready to substitute negative ethnicity with nationalism, which actually also applies to our situation here, I believe that it will be very difficult to avoid conflict because conflict is inherent in the ideology. And you cannot, I'm sure that if you asked Prime Minister Abiy what he is trying to do, he will tell you that he is trying to unite the Ethiopian nation. But you cannot unite a nation on the basis or on the foundation of negative ethnicity. You have to declare war against negative ethnicity if you want to unite ethnically divided communities. But nobody seems to be doing that because negative ethnicity, unfortunately, even as it wreaks havoc, it still promises communities salvation. That's why we vote here as communities rather than as individuals. And each time we go to elections, we are going into war with other communities. And then you ask people to come together, it's not possible. So I think that the problem in Ethiopia, which is also the problem that was in Rwanda, the problem that is in South Sudan, and in many other African countries, is negative ethnicity. We must root it out. If it's not rooted out, the problems will persist. And it will be very difficult to have a united Africa or even a progressing Africa.
But when you talk about negative ethnicity, can we point it back to the federal system because it created a system of winners and losers. That we have, certain communities that are taken to be elites and others are taken to be marginalized. And now this is what is actually creating the negative ethnicity. That we feel that why are you putting, some privileges on yourselves and other people are feeling underprivileged.
I agree that when you have negative ethnicity at work, communities are pitted against one another. Even communities are discriminated against. And some communities, depending on their strength, will probably enjoy what other communities will find difficult to find.
Yes.
So what you are saying is that you cannot solve the problem, that it is possible to use negative ethnicity to solve the problem of ethnic discrimination. I believe that you cannot solve negative ethnicity with ethnic practice. It is very difficult. I believe that, like for instance, at the time when we were getting our independence, the ideology of the state was more or less, was more nationalism than negative ethnicity or tribalism. But we have since gone the way of negative ethnicity or tribalism. And where we have reached, we have come to think that it is possible to use negative ethnicity as a solution. That's why in Ethiopia they have ethnic regions, because they believe if you can set up, if you can give every community a state, then the complaints will cease to be. But the fact is that there are also national resources that must be shared. How do you share them unless you can agree that at the end of the day, even if you start as communities, you can actually become a nation. A nation that is united by, say, nationalism as the ideology of the state.
Thank you. Let's hear from Dr. Mustafa.
Dibal, thank you.